Welcome to More in the Know podcast. I am your host, Josh Mor-In, Vice President and co-founder of Field Supplements, as well as sobriety, woke, business, and wellness coach. More in the Know delivers an array of content based on marketing, health and fitness, personal branding, addiction, and often goes down the rabbit hole of politics, conspiracy, and the truth. If you seek to better understand the inner workings of human performance, consciousness, business, and humanity, you've come to the right place. Thank you for tuning in and tagging along. Let's get today's podcast started. What's up, all you More in the Know Mogul Mission followers, all you crazy quarantine peeps? Tonight is a full moon, so I decided, you know what? It's a beautiful evening, and I'm going to take this time and opportunity to hop on here and do yet another More in the Know episode podcast for y'all, for all the beautiful people out there that are listening in on this. You guys will be hearing this after all your full moon shenanigans. So hopefully you guys are doing some witchy, hippie stuff for the full moon, the pink moon. So I wanted to start off tonight's podcast with that. We're going to dive into some relationships, codependency. We're going to get down to the nitty gritty and the dirtiness of relationships, all the stuff that you guys want to hear. But before I do so, it was kind of cool because I was like, what is the pink moon? Like, I don't even know what that is. I don't understand it. So what I did is just a little Google search, and that's what I think that we all should be more resourceful and do. Is there's this beautiful thing called Google at the mercy of our fingertips. We can literally access as much information as we can comprehend. So if you ever have any questions, there's a beautiful thing called Google that you can go ahead, type in what you want to know, and Google will tell you. It's absolutely unbelievable. So if you want to seek the truth is there. And tonight's truth that I am seeking is the ancient beliefs about the pink moon. So what the hell is the fucking pink moon? I know I used to be a hippie. I know I used to be pretty much a whip and a worshiper. But, the pink moon, I'm guessing, has some sort of significance. So right here it says, among Native Americans, the pink moon signifies rebirth and renewal. It flags the brighter times ahead following the cold, dark months of the winter. The pink moon is a sign that life goes through cycles. Bright flowers may die, but they always come back again each year. According to spiritualist Cherokee Billy, the pink moon brings the stability and security to crystallize recent changes and make them permanent improvements. The pink moon signifies that life goes through cycles, and you are going through a cycle right now, and going through a hardship right now, a time right now that all of us are going through. We're all dealing with the times. And how are you responding? How are you taking action daily to not allow this to affect your outcome, to affect your productivity, to affect the goals that you set in 2020? I don't know about you, but this last few weeks, I have never been more committed, more in line, and more in the zone than I ever been in my entire life. Business, yes, there's been some ups and downs, but all I can say is I've been able to do the little things, the things that I've been procrastinating on, putting back on the back burner, and now I've been able to do these things like start this podcast, like develop the skills and habits necessary to become a sobriety, woke, business and wellness coach, as well as a multitude of other situations, projects, and things that I'm working on behind the scenes that's going to set me up to be able to excel afterwards, after this pandemic is over. Because with all things, this too shall pass. And that's just with all things. They do pass, man. So if you are at home right now and you're listening to this, if you're on the way to work, or if you have the privilege of going to work or going to the gym or wherever you are and you're listening to this, just know if you got a roof over your head, if you got 2 arms, 2 hands, 2 feet, 2 legs, 2 eyes to see with, 2 ears to hear with, a mouth to feed yourself, you are blessed beyond measure. You are incredibly blessed. If you have these things, you are blessed. If you got a roof over your head, if you got people who love you, you are absolutely blessed. Get on your knees right now and say the things that you're grateful for. Reach out to somebody, let them know that you love them, tell them that you're grateful for them, that you are appreciative of what they do for you daily, and allow the universe to be filled with your love and your gratitude. So with that being said, the full moon is a great opportunity for me and myself tonight to be able to deliver my content on the More in the Know podcast, episode 3. So, once again, thank you guys for joining in and listening. Tonight's podcast is going to be about relationships. Now, when I talk about relationships, there's going to be a handful of viewers, potentially females, that are listening to this that may or may not have had interaction with me or relationships with me, and they may or may not laugh about what I have to say. But I'm going to keep it honest, I'm going to keep it real and direct, man. I am not a professional relationship guidance counselor. I am simply a man who's had a lot of different experiences. I've really been in all sorts of different relationships, whether it be monogamous or multiple partners, or I have been on the other end of somebody who is in an open relationship. I've really been able to look at relationships on a grander scale, and I've been able to really identify to the core of what all of us really want and what all of us really require in our relationships, as well as what some people like or don't like. So the biggest thing about this podcast is keeping an open mind to what I have to say. Not everything that I say is going to be truthful. It's really more or less from my experience, and that's what I truly feel is the whole point of having a podcast like this, is that you don't come here because you want to be told what to do. You just want to come here to be taught about my experience, so then you could maybe take that and apply it into your own life and your own perspective. But the biggest thing is if I say something and you create a resistance to what I'm saying, that's an opportunity to take a look in deep inside yourself to understand where that resistance stems from. If I'm saying something that offends you, but it doesn't offend me, why is it offending you but not offending me when it should be offending me? Because I live in a place of peace, and I live in a place of complete flow where I don't get humiliated. You cannot humiliate me because I will tell you all the faults that I have in my life. So therefore, a man who cannot be humiliated is ultimately humble. I am open and willing to share my downfalls as a man. I am definitely not a expert in relationships. I've had many failed relationships. I've had many failed friendships. I've treated women not the way that I've wanted to treat them or that they've deserved to be treated, and I've received on the same exact situation that I have projected onto them. I've received the same thing that I've projected onto women onto me. I've made women not feel wanted. I've not felt wanted in relationships. I've hurt women. I've been hurt. So really this yin and yang goes both places, but all I can say is in relationships, it's an opportunity to learn more about yourself. And the biggest thing about relationships is I'm learning that through time and through my addictions and in my recovery, I have been codependent. So what is being codependent? Most of you guys think that codependent means that you just have to have somebody. Well, this is true. Most people can't be fucking single for more than a week, a day, a month, or a year. Me, I've been single. Well, I had a girlfriend for a little while, early in my sobriety for a few months, but up to that point, it was a few years, and since then, it's been around a year since I've been in a relationship. Codependency is an excessive emotional or psychological reliance on a partner. Most people don't understand that they are codependent. Typically, addicts create codependent relationships that fulfill the same set of feelings, situations that perpetuate their feelings of unwantedness, unworthiness, low self-esteem, as well as the situations and events that have shaped their thoughts, feelings, and current vibrational state. So if you are living in a state of shame, guilt, abandonment, rejection, the low levels of transmutational energy, you're typically going to attract that into your reality, that in which you expect, in which you are, which you reflect, and that's going to essentially attract back the same situations, people, places, and things over and over again. So if you set yourself up to be disappointed, if you're addicted to disappointment, if you find yourself in chaotic relationships with men and or women, if you find men that violate you, that lie, steal, and cheat on you, typically you can trace back the pattern and understand the reason for this situation. We must take accountability and responsibility for ourselves and understand that we are 100% in charge of letting go of our trauma. That is the biggest thing. Number one, first and foremost thing is that a 1/3 of women, men that listen up, men, 1/3 of women will be violated, sexually assaulted, and or raped in their lifetime. And that's 1/3 of women, which is a very, very high percentage. Now, men, they have also had this type of situation. The results and percentages aren't as high. But what I'm saying is most people have trauma. Most people have trauma, but as adults, it is our moral and spiritual responsibility to be able to understand better why we do what we do, get to the root of the cause of the problem, and begin to let go of these traumas that keep us in shame, guilt, abandonment, rejection, and these low levels of vibration and transmutational energy that keep attracting the same situation, people, places, and things over and over and over again. It is your moral responsibility. So, being in a codependent relationship only perpetuates those same feelings. So if you find yourself in the same relationship over and over again, but with a different face, typically that means you are addicted. You are in a codependent relationship and you attract the same people. If you say the words, I always attract, I'm always get guys like this, or girls always do this to me. First off, your word becomes law. So whatever you speak becomes true, number one. Number two is if that is your law, that is what you expect. What you reflect is what you expect back. So if you find yourself in those situations, there's typically a root cause of those problems. Now, getting to the root cause of those problems may stem back to your childhood. For me personally, I've had an up and down relationship with my mother. I've been addicted to being disappointed by women for many years, and that is what I have been reflecting in my relationships. Now, over the last year, I have got to the root of the cause of this. I've been able to let go of this. I've been able to let go of my abandonment issues. I've been able to let go of my fear of being rejected, a fear of not being loved, and to step into this place and this peace and power of being loved and in a knowing state that I am whole and I am worthy just the way I am right now. I am deserving. And so that has allowed me to now attract a completely different type of woman into my reality, as well as now understanding why I do what I do and understanding the patterns of people and how they react. I've been able to really break down, and I don't want to say break down people, but I've been able to typically see red flags very early and signs very early that say slow down and or get the fuck out. So, if you're currently in a relationship right now and you feel that the relationship is toxic and or draining, get the fuck out, man. Get the fuck out. You deserve absolute more. And you can say, Josh, well, that's easy for you to say. You don't have kids with this person or you haven't been married to this person. That's easy for you to say because you just don't know how much I love them. Well, if you want to continually make and justify ways to stay with somebody who's going to perpetuate you, violate you, and be a toxic source of energy to you and your reality, then I cannot help you. All I can offer is just some suggestions of what has helped me. So, are you codependent? That's something that you probably going to answer back. No, I'm not codependent. But the fact of the matter is, most of us are codependent because most of us have not yet to realize and or break down to separate our feelings, our perception of the events, and we continually attract the same thing over and over again. So what type of relationships do you attract in your life? Do you attract men who are abusive, men who cheat on you? Do you attract women who disappoint you? Do you attract women who are toxic, who are chaotic, who create drama because you are addicted to the drama? Do you create women who you get high off of the chaos? What type of relationships do you attract? And these are the questions that you must ask yourself. For me personally, I've attracted all of the above. I'm typically attractive to smoking hot, crazy women. And maybe you're attracted to the guy that's all tatted up with fucking earrings and it's got that edgy feel, but he likes fucking doing blow and drinking booze. Maybe that's your guy, but he treats women like absolute shit and you get high off of it. Who knows what you really like and what you expect for yourself. That comes down to is setting a standard and having self-esteem. Now, me personally, having these crazy smoking hot chicks in my life, when I really break down what that does for me, is it does very little. Typically, I'm somebody who wants to help or rescue someone. Typically, that's what happens once you enter into recovery, is you want to be a people helper. You want to be a rescuer, come to somebody's rescue, and you want to help and save people. But at the end of the day, you can only save yourself. You can only lead yourself to the water that you drink, and you cannot do this for other people. You have to meet them where they are. So if you can't fill somebody else's cup up if you're only half full. So that's just not how it works. So meeting people where they are is number one, and number two is taking a very objective view of your relationships and who you're having these relationships with, why you're having these relationships, what voids are they filling. I mean, are you just having sex to fill a void? What type of connection are you having with these people? Are you having communication problems? What type of problems do you have communicating? Where do you think these problems have stemmed from? These are all a series of questions that you must ask yourself to be able to understand the patterns in your life. And the more that you can understand these patterns, the more that you can understand how you can literally separate yourself from the events that have shaped you. Step into your power and begin to deliver and create and attract a completely new reality into your present circumstance. But the only way to do that is to get to the nitty gritty. The only way to do that is to get rigorously honest with yourself, have that rigorous candor, and realize that, hey, we're not fucking perfect, man. I am far from perfect. I continually, daily make mistakes. I continually, daily find myself having to keep myself accountable for the words that I speak. Because when I talk on this podcast, trust me, everything is coming straight from experience. And that's why I want this to be that I will never say, I never tell you to do something that I would not do myself. Why? Because that would make me a fucking hypocrite. And I'm not a hypocrite. I'm just simply somebody sharing my story and telling you, hey, man, I'm equally as flawed as you. I've fucked up equally amount of times. But at the end of the day, all we can do as human beings is learn, live and learn, live and let go. Letting go is being able to become objective with your thoughts, feelings, and actions and becoming conscious. The way that you become conscious of these is become objective. The way you become objective is to become honest. The way that you're honest is you have to step out of your denial and step into your power. So if for many years and or you're listening to this right now and you're like, Josh, that's just not like me, or I'm not that person, trust me, man, I used to say the same thing. I used to say, that's not me. I'm not that person. I'm not an addict. I'm not like them. Rewind a little bit to me stepping into sobriety and recovery saying, I don't need to go to AA because I'm not like those people. Fuck, man. I went to one AA class and I realized I'm exactly like those people. And those people now have become some of my best friends. Those people have become some of the most influential people in my life. So those people and the people that maybe you say that you are not and actually are, maybe you can learn from them. And that's all I'm here to say is that once you can let your guard down, once you can let yourself become receptive to all sorts of information that allows you to grow on all levels, spiritually, mentally, emotionally. Once you can get into this space of receptance, of flow, of peace, of complete stillness within yourself, when you are in ease, nothing like disease can exist. You are in complete flow. Once you let go of that force against you and you can just breathe, like I've stated many times, and go, man, doesn't that fucking feel good? Doesn't that feel good when you can release that pressure and that stress from your neck and you can relieve and let that breath lower and just fucking breathe. And once you breathe, then you can step into your power. You can become objective. You can realize, whoa, this is my life. This is how I'm living. I'm now rooted in the present moment, and this is who I am. You'll no longer need to find women, men, drugs, or substances to find your escape. It's a letting go phase. So how do you let go of being anxious? How do you let go of this anxiety that you have in your chest? Well, typically letting go is You just do. You just do. And once you step out of that space of how do I and step into that space of and you can breathe from your lower stomach, you can become objective, then you'll understand the letting go process is a skill that you will do daily. And by letting go, it allows you to raise your consciousness, to elevate your transmutational energy. There's a base, reading these books right now by David Hawkins, Letting Go, Power versus Force, and Transcending the Levels of Consciousness, A Stairway to Enlightenment. And in this book, I'm reading the calibrations of consciousness. All human beings are calibrated to be born around 200. Now, anything below 200 is essentially negative transmutational energy. Anything below 200 includes pride, anger, desire, fear, grief, apathy, hatred, guilt, and the lowest transmutational energy of vibration is shame, which logs in at 20. The highest level of consciousness is enlightenment. And once you're able to let go, once you're able to step into your courage and your willingness and acceptance, and you can move through the vibrational levels of consciousness, you'll start to begin and understand that life has a greater meaning, that there is a greater purpose to all this. Once you step into this place of peace around 600, you are essentially, by definition, happy. But if you continually allow yourself to move down the levels of consciousness into pride, anger, desire, fear, and grief, you're going to find yourself unhappy. You're going to find yourself in a situation with low self-esteem, and guess what's going to happen? You're going to attract that in which you know. So you're going to attract the same types of situations and people that are going to be exactly what you are. And once you vibrate on a level of anger, desire, fear, and grief, guess what type of men and women that you're going to attract into your life, and type of relationships that you're going to attract in your life. You're going to attract the same type of people into your reality. But once you let go, once you learn to say, hey, enough is enough. The pain is not worth the pleasure anymore. I've had enough. I've hit my rock bottom. And your rock bottom is however deep you want the shovel to go. Your rock bottom doesn't have to be behind bars in a prison cell or 6 feet under. Your rock bottom can be right now. And the time of change can be today. It can be right now. There's no greater time than the present. There's a wise saying that says the best time to plant a tree was 50 years ago, and the second best time is right now. So right now is the best time to plant your feet and say, you know what? Enough is enough. If you found yourself living in a space where you are unsure, where you don't know, where you feel lost, first off, I understand. I completely understand. Second off, if that's the space that you are in, you're going to attract that exact type of relationship into your life. Third, the only way to change this, to change to the reality that you are attracting, is to get to the very core of who you are. I will greatly assist you on being able to understand the reason why you do what you do. If you're a chronic procrastinator, if you have troubles releasing weight, if you have found yourself in codependent relationships, I will gladly assist you in understanding the cause to the effect of your actions. I'm offering a coaching package. You could contact me directly about this information. If you are serious and not just curious, please direct contact me after you listen to this podcast. I just want to say thank you to everyone who has joined in on More in the Know, episode 3, relationships, transcending the levels of consciousness, understanding why you do what you do, and getting to the nitty gritty of who you are and better understanding the cause to the effect. This will be the basis of the majority of my podcasts that are solo mission. I'll be inviting guests onto the More in the Know podcast weekly so you can tune in and hear a different perspective, as well as I'm going to be talking about a lot of different topics. So if you're joining in and you're listening to this podcast, please follow my channel on SoundCloud, as well as check me out on Facebook at Josh Mor-In and or Instagram at mogul_Mor-In, as well as Be sure to check out my supplement company, Fueled Supplements, on our Instagram at Fueled Supplements, or check out fueledsupplements.com for all your supplement needs. That concludes More in the Know, episode 3, with yours truly, Josh Bourne. You guys have a blessed day.